Now, what I want to do now is I want to tag a certain group of photos. Now, the Frontier Village Amusement Park had this really nice main street, and it had all these shops and restaurants and buildings. And so what I want to do is I want to select just those images. So I want to go down here and find images that were taken along that main street. And there's the old schoolhouse, and there's the general store. I'll take the marshal's office, grab these two, and I'll take the map as well. So I've got a selection of images now, and I'm ready to tag. So I'm going to be using natural language tagging in this case, where I'm going to give a description of what these images are, and then QromaTag will automatically look for things for me. I'm simply going to tap onto this field and then double tap my function key to start the voice recognition process. These are buildings along Main Street at the Frontier Village Amusement Park in San Jose, California, period. These photos were taken in the summer of 1979, period. Okay, so that's a pretty good voice recognition. I will now just kind of scan along to see if there's any mistakes that I need to correct, and that looks about right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap onto this recognize button, which allows QromaTag to do the natural language parsing, and we're going to look inside this description for things like places and people's names and dates. So I tap on here, I'll see that it found, the summer of 1979, it found San Jose. It didn't find any people because it didn't name any people. And if I find that this is a good analysis of what was going on, I just tap apply, and then I'll see that description get embedded into the metadata. It's in blue now, which means it hasn't been written. I can still make some changes to it. I can look here on the map, and I can see that while it didn't find Frontier Village, and the reason for that is because Frontier Village doesn't exist anymore, it did center this in the middle of San Jose. I'm going to refine this in just a moment, but then it added more of my metadata down here below. So I want a precise location for where Frontier Village was, and in this particular case, I've already added a custom place, and I can just go down here on the list and select it, and then that shows me where Frontier Village used to be. If that looks good, now my metadata all looks great. I can just tap save, and it will tag those images. Now, did you notice that after it tagged those images, they disappeared from this list? Now, there's a good reason for doing that. While you're tagging a folder full of images, you might want to know which ones you've tagged and which ones you haven't tagged. And so what QromaTag does is it automatically hides images once you've tagged them with metadata. Now, the images haven't gone anywhere. This is just a visual way of showing you which images you need to tag and which ones you've already tagged. Now, if you want to turn that feature off and go back and look at all your images again, just click on this little icon that looks like an eye. Now, the way that this works is it's based on the tagging session. So once you launch the application, that starts a session, and QromaTag keeps track of all the images that it has already tagged during that session, and it hides them for you. So this little button is a way of hiding and unhiding images that you've already tagged. Now, if I turn this back on so I can see everything, I can click onto an image, and I can see that these images now have metadata in them. So here's the description, here's my location information, here's my date information. Because these are in black, that means the metadata has already been embedded in them. I can also right-click onto this image and then open it up in my default viewer, or I can show the image in the Finder. But I'm going to go ahead and just open this now in the preview application, and you can see that this metadata is now being read by the Finder application. And you can see that my GPS coordinates are right on that spot. I've got IPTC information embedded into the image that includes my description and the date and exactly where it was. So now my metadata has been written down to those images. So I want to do another example of natural language tagging because the last example didn't really use the relationship manager much. So I'm going to import another folder full of images, and these are our childhood images, and I want to go to this image right here and give it a description. This is my dad and I at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in the spring of 1974 with Ruth Ann Stepakowski. So I'm going to tap on my recognize button, and from this description, the natural language tagging engine was able to create a date for it, an exact location, and then find the people that we talked about because I've already put in the relationship manager myself and my father, and Ruth Ann Stepakowski is in my contacts, so it was able to recognize that. I'm just going to add one period right here at the end just to make it look nice. And then once I'm done, I'm just going to tap on the apply button, and that will transfer everything over into the inspector. And this all looks good, so I'm going to save it. And when I look at it again, I can see that all of that metadata has been written into the image. And that really is the beauty of natural language tagging, being able to create multiple pieces of information just based on the description.